Hello, once again. This we're pretty much going to talk about black people, in China, in a place called Guangzhou. I think a lot of you probably heard of the video of Africans in Guangzhou being discriminated. And look at that, African guy right there being carried away. And these videos are. This is from Al Jazeera. The blatant discrimination of Africans in Guangzhou is terrible, especially in China right now. The people are being told by the Chinese government, communist government, that Africans are the ones that are bringing, the coronavirus to their country. I don't know how that's possible when everyone knows that the coronavirus or the CCP virus started in China, in Wuhan, and it spread everywhere. Notice that every country that has Chinese nationals is pretty much being affected by this coronavirus, you know. But somehow, they want to switch it and say, well, we don't carry this coronavirus. We're perfect. We're a perfect society. It's these Africans that are the ones that are bringing the coronavirus to us. Black people are always going to be the scapegoats for everything. It's not this person, it's not that person, it's not this way. It's the Africans, in other words. And it's just blatantly disgusting, the constant racism that's happening, in China today. Look how they carry this guy, as if he has coronavirus, written on his face, like, oh yeah, these people are being kicked out of their homes, being evicted. And some of these people are Africans, or are businessmen, people that are just doing business in China in general. They're not there to create some kind of problem or anything. They're basically there to just bring businesses and doing a lot of positive things. And then this is how they're being treated, in China. Let me show you another article here. This is another one. I want you to hear this one right here.
Everybody is walking on the road in this midnight. They are still chasing us. You see, they cannot give us house. They cannot give us hotel. They cannot provide a place we can stay. They are just following us. You see, they are just following us. They don't want us to stay one place.
This is disgusting how people are being treated. This is disgusting how people are being treated. You know, Let me show you another one right here. McDonald's. McDonald's in China, amazingly enough. They have the nerve to post this on McDonald's. Read the notice. It says, we've been informed that from now on, black people, I'll repeat again, black people, for those of you that think, oh, well, this is just African, no. They did pretty much targeting all black people, anybody with dark skin or anybody from the motherland, black people in general. Of course, you can be black, you can be light skin, you can be dark, and it doesn't matter. Anybody whose ancestry goes back to Africa, black people are not allowed to enter the restaurant. This reminds me of the Jim Crow South, in other words. I mean, seriously, black people have suffered so much throughout the century, throughout the world, so much, and they have the nerve. And this is something that didn't even, the audacity, I just don't even understand. It started in China, they're spreading around the world, destroying many nations and their economy. It's ridiculous. Now they want to have black people as the scapegoat, basically saying that black people are the ones that are bringing in China. Black people are not allowed to enter the restaurant for the sake of your health. Consciously notify the local police for medical isolation. Are you serious? Please understand the inconvenience caused. This is ridiculous. The stupidity is unbelievable. It's completely ridiculous. It's unbelievable how, they're treating black people in general. And you notice you have Chinese people, lots of Chinese in Africa. Over 1 million Chinese in Africa. I don't see African be like, oh well, let's kick them out. Let's, and these people, some of them have coronavirus. They brought it to Africa. But Africans are not putting them like, oh well, let's put them in cages and treat them, kick them out of their homes and doing this and mistreat them. And we know this is completely sickening. Anyway, apparently that the video became so viral that China's I mean basically the McDonald's headquarters or so I think it stated that McDonald's apologized after the restaurant in Guangzhou, China refused to service black customers. Go down here and you pretty much will hear the article. In a video that was widely shared online, a McDonald's employee in Guangzhou, China, held up the sign that read, "From now on, black people are not allowed to enter the restaurant." This is sickening that a person would even hold that sign as if that's okay. McDonald's China apologized Monday for the discriminatory incident. As a brand and as a company, and as more than 2.2 million people serving nearly 120 countries around the world, this is not representative of our inclusive values, a spokesperson told Insider. Immediately upon learning of an unauthorized communication to our guests at a restaurant in Guangzhou, we immediately removed the communication and temporarily closed the restaurant. During the temporary closure, staff will be retrained, the spokesperson said. I don't think they realized that, one of the former head CEO of McDonald's was a black person, as a matter of fact. You know, but this blatant racism is completely sickening. That they're treating blacks. This is not a white person. This is blacks that are being treated. And I remember in the same restaurant, one restaurant, and in some case, there was a black person that went with her colleague to a restaurant, and when they went to that restaurant, basically they weren't allowed in. The person told them that the white person could go in, but the black person cannot go in. I was like, wow, sickening. A video is actually available somewhere online, but you have to look through and you'll find it. It's really sickening that they'll treat people like this. Black people specifically. Completely ignoring the fact that it's the Chinese government that created this. And another article says China fails to stop racism against Africans over COVID-19. Wow, African people sleeping on streets after eviction and prevented from entering shops. African people continue to be barred from hotels, shops, and restaurants in Guangzhou, despite Chinese officials assuring the government across Africa that discrimination resulting from efforts to contain the virus outbreak will stop. Yeah, right, but it's still happening. Racist discrimination in Guangzhou early this month caused outrage in Africa, provoking rare official protests to China by several countries. Of course. Why would the Africans, just we're just gonna sit? They assume that Africans should just sit there and be like, "Oh wow, okay, this is the Chinese after all. We need to just relax and let them do what's best, right?" Africans in the city who were contacted recently by The Guardian said they still face hostility and racism, prompted by fears they may be carriers of the COVID-19. And a Nigerian businessman who lived in Guangzhou for a year said he was not allowed to return to his rented accommodation last week after being released from 2-week quarantine. Wow, this is crazy. He went to a 2-week quarantine. He was released, in other words, because you won't release a person that's sick. Obviously, he's healthy at that point. And now he can't even go back to the place that he's renting because what? Because he's African? Because he's black? The security guard said to us, "No foreigners are allowed." I was upset, very upset. I slept on the street, the 30-year-old said. This is crazy. They're going to treat people like the animals. We don't see Africans, treating Chinese people like that, kicking them out of their homes and telling them to sleep on the streets. Police eventually found a hotel willing to rent the guy's name. I'm sorry here. I don't want to butcher his name. But basically, they found a place to rent the guy a room at a hotel. We use the reception to order food, the guy said. If the food delivery company know it is a foreigner ordering food, they will not come. Wow. You cannot buy anything in the shop. If you go in, they will cover their face and chase you out. Wow. So in other words, the Chinese government now is telling their people that it's Africans that are bringing the virus to them. This is sickening. Meanwhile, they want to be friends with Africa, do businesses with Africa, and it is time the black people in general need to stand up against this blatant racism. Now, I'm not saying all Chinese people, see a Chinese person go out there and hit them and beat them. No, I'm not. This is wrong. I don't believe that we should discriminate any person. I'm saying that we need to stand up, including Chinese people themselves. stand up against the Chinese government, because this would not be happening if the Chinese government did not try to dispel this myth that other people are the ones that are creating this. First, it was a lot of people were dying in Italy, and the Chinese government said, "Well, maybe it's the Italians that created this virus. They're the ones that are doing it." Then now it happened. They're blaming America, saying that well, it's the Americans that created this virus and brought it to us. Anything just to be able to step away from the fact that it's their perfect communist government. This is the reason why they try to, cover up everything that's happening in China today. Whenever, even the amount of cases of people that are contacting coronavirus in China, the Chinese government tried to dispel that by, not counting the amount of people that are suffering in China because of this. This Chinese guy, I think he has a YouTube video online or so. You might want to listen to. I think he tries to explain, I guess, to the best of his ability, why discrimination happens in China. You know, so let's just hear what he has to say and see from there.
Right, it will probably become the most serious racism for the past several decades. Now, racism in China is indeed a very serious issue. It has a lot of reason behind this, but today I don't want to talk about racism because I feel like why this situation happened has more to do with the system we have. So I want to explain why this kind of thing can actually happen in China. Now, let me just make sure we are all on the same page. I'm not trying to justify this policy, okay? It is indeed morally wrong, like I have said. If the same situation happened to the Asian community in the US, it would be a total disaster. I also think no any other government official dare to put up this kind of policy because it will literally ruin their career. But in China, it will happen. It actually is quite often. So today, I want to help you to understand why this kind of thing will happen in China and hopefully help you to understand China a little bit better. Now, first of all, you guys already know that unlike the Western system, where the government is mainly decided by the popularity among its citizens, that is, if you want to become a president or a mayor, then you will at least try to get support from the majority of citizens, right? More people support you means more votes. More votes means it is more likely for you to get elected, right? In China, it is different. Some people believe that it is a meritocracy system, which I think is, well, not 100% accurate, but let's just say to a certain degree, it is one. So it's
In other words, in the video, he pretty much tries to explain that the system of government is a problem in China. You see, in the rest of the world, where we have a democratic system, people elect their leaders, representative. And China's bill basically is different. Once again, it's a communism system, and the communist system basically creates is that in China, basically what he's saying is that for instance, the people in charge, I'm not really concerned of stopping these type of things. They pretty much want to be able to basically to say that it's the system that was created. That system is pretty much what's quite a problem, because the person that's elected in the Chinese government wants to focus more or less on what do you call it? He basically saying that that person is focused on getting a raise. In other words, so the officials are not so much focused on the social aspect of that's happening in society. Only things that would affect that person's stand when they're elected. In other words, if someone suffers racism at a restaurant in China, that particular governor of that state or whoever is in charge doesn't really care too much because it doesn't affect them politically. However, let's say if an accident happened and so many people die, that person would be affected by it because that would affect their electability, and also for a fact that it actually affects them getting a raise. In other words, they might not probably even get fired, maybe, or maybe they might get fired, who knows? But it definitely affects them from getting a raise. So these type of things they try to prevent. So in other words, it's a me society. In other words, but it's not something that it would try to focus on the social aspects of society. That's why it doesn't affect that person as much. Racism and all that. That's why they're not so strong on trying to prevent these things from happening in China. Look at this article right here.
Our ambassador is very important, very, very important, and I'm glad you did that. But how you treat our citizens is more important
I know.
to us
Yes, yes.
than even how you treat the ambassador.
Yes, yes.
So, I mean, I just want to take you, and I'm sure my colleagues will have some comments as well. You said you haven't seen any of the videos that are out there. I'm at liberty to show them to you. Everybody has a phone if you want, if that will convince you, because you've said you haven't had an official complaint.
You must communicate to us as accredited consulate to you. Then if you communicate to us, we are going to be able to sit with you and then see the modality, how we are going to discuss it with our national.
You know what our government, including those of us here, the resistance we put up just to allow medical personnel to come in a couple of days ago. Nigerians were worried for good reason, because we have this virus out there.
So in this video, you're seeing that this Chinese official right here is saying that, well, he hasn't seen the video yet. It was a video. The video is also available online of an African or so that was Africans that were being kicked out, discriminated. And in that video, you'll see that in other words, he was saying that they wanted to kick Africans out, and out of their homes and stuff like that. And the Africans took a stand and spoke to that Chinese official, and was in Guangzhou was telling them that, wait a minute, we don't treat Chinese people like this. Why are you treating us like this? This is, and he stood up. And this is the Nigerian governor telling this ambassador right here, right here, to pretty much what's going on here, to address them. He summoned the ambassador to talk to him and tell him, because they don't understand why are Africans being treated like this, as if they're the scapegoat, when this is the Chinese problem. This is the Chinese virus, in other words, that originating from China. So why are we be treated like this? So this is the wariness. I feel like black people need to realize this blatant discrimination that's happening, and need to stand up against this blatant racism, because if we don't, it's going to affect us tomorrow. you know so anyway, I welcome your comments, and what you have to say. Please let me know, and hopefully we'll try to continue from there. I'll try to improve the videos from now on. But just let me know what you think. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.